All right, let's dive in. Today we're exploring IVF
Okay.
and integrative care,
Yeah.
specifically how combining Eastern and Western medicine can maybe increase IVF success rates.
Yeah.
We're looking at an article from the Berkley Center
Okay.
for Reproductive Wellness in New York City. It's called The Journey to Successful IVF, How Integrative Care in New York City Can Boost Your Chances. And, we're talking about things like acupuncture. You might not think that something like acupuncture could impact IVF, but
Yeah, it's true. It's pretty amazing.
yeah,
IVF has come such a long way, but it's still not, a guaranteed thing.
definitely. And that's what I think is so interesting about this article.
Yeah.
It really digs into why sometimes embryo transfers fail,
Mm-hmm.
even when, everything seems like it's perfect.
Right, right. And the Berkley Center, they talk about 5 main reasons why this happens.
Okay.
And a lot of times conventional medicine doesn't really look at these things.
Okay.
One of the most interesting ones, I think, is sperm DNA fragmentation. And, sperm can look totally normal under a microscope,
Right.
but the DNA inside can actually be damaged.
Wow.
Yeah. And that fragmentation can really mess with the embryo development and implantation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that can lead to, all these repeated IVF failures, which can be so heartbreaking.
I never really thought about it that way before.
Yeah.
I always thought it was mostly about egg quality.
Yeah, egg quality is definitely super important.
Uh-huh.
But this sperm DNA fragmentation, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's actually a factor in like 25% of male infertility cases.
Wow.
And what's crazy is a lot of times the normal semen analysis, they don't even detect this fragmentation.
So how do you even know if that's a problem?
Well, there are these specialized tests you can get.
Okay.
And the good news is that there are things you can do about it.
Like what?
Well, like lifestyle changes.
Oh, okay.
Things like reducing stress, quitting smoking,
Sure.
eating better, improving your diet.
Yeah.
All these things can actually help.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there are also certain supplements
Yeah.
that seem to, be able to reduce fragmentation.
It's kind of amazing to think that making these lifestyle changes
Yeah.
can actually improve like the health of your sperm DNA.
Totally. And that's actually where I think this whole integrative approach is really cool,
Okay.
because it recognizes that fertility isn't just about
Right.
what's going on with your reproductive organs. It's
Mhm.
about like your whole health and well-being,
That makes sense.
for both partners too.
Right. So it's about treating the whole person,
Yeah.
not just the semen.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly. And that's one of the big things about the Berkley Center's approach.
Okay.
They're very holistic.
Yeah.
They look at everything,
Right.
Diet, exercise, stress,
Okay.
emotional well-being, all of it.
And they're known for using like Eastern medicine practices.
Yes, yep.
Like acupuncture, right?
Exactly.
I'm kind of curious about that, how that all works.
Yeah, acupuncture is a big part of their approach, and for good reason.
Okay.
There's more and more evidence that it can really have a positive impact on different parts of fertility.
So tell me, like, how can this ancient practice
Yeah.
play a role in modern fertility treatments?
Yeah, good question. So studies have shown that it can improve blood flow to your reproductive organs,
Okay.
which can, help egg quality and make the uterus more receptive.
Right.
It can also, regulate hormones, reduce stress, and decrease inflammation, and all those things can affect IVF outcomes.
So it's not just about like sticking needles in certain spots.
Right.
It's about like creating this whole body response
Exactly.
that helps fertility.
Exactly. And, the Berkley Center, they talk about this really interesting case in their article.
Yeah.
There was this patient. She was 39 years old.
Okay.
She had already gone through 3 failed IVF cycles.
Wow.
And then she started doing acupuncture as part of her treatment. And then she ended up having a successful pregnancy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, it shows you the potential of
Yeah.
bringing all these different approaches together.
Absolutely.
And it just makes you wonder if
Yeah.
there's more to the fertility puzzle than we even realize yet.
Right.
And speaking of, expanding our thinking about this,
Yeah.
the article also talks about herbal medicine.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I know some people are skeptical,
Yeah.
but I think it can be a really great tool
Okay.
when it's prescribed by, licensed professionals who really understand both herbal medicine and reproductive health.
Right. So it's about finding that right practitioner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crucial to work with someone who, gets IVF and herbal remedies. It's
Yeah.
got to be both.
So it's about finding that balance
Exactly.
between ancient wisdom and modern science.
Exactly. And you know what I think is really cool?
What's that?
Is that some herbs have been used for centuries
Right.
to help with specific fertility problems.
Oh.
For example, like chasteberry and black cohosh,
Yeah.
they've traditionally been used to help regulate hormones
Okay.
and improve how the ovaries function.
So it sounds like herbal medicine can be very targeted to address specific issues.
Totally. And that personalized approach, that's really what integrative care is all about, you know?
Yeah.
It's about making a plan that's just for you,
Right.
you know, taking into account your situation and your health history and everything that makes you unique.
Awesome. So we're talking about this personalized care and, the Berkley Center article.
Yeah.
It really talks about that a lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It seems like they really get to know each patient.
Right. Well, they do all these really in-depth assessments
Okay.
to try to figure out, what might be causing the infertility.
Right.
And it's not just about looking at your hormone levels or, they look at everything, your lifestyle, your stress, your diet.
Okay.
Even like emotional well-being.
So it sounds like they're really trying to understand the whole person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, not just
Not just their reproductive system.
their reproductive system. Yeah.
Right, right. And then they, once they have all that information, they can create a plan that's really specific to you.
Okay.
It might include acupuncture, herbal medicine,
Right.
maybe nutritional counseling,
Yeah.
lifestyle changes, or a combination of all those things.
And what's interesting is that they say they work with your reproductive endocrinologist.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah.
So it's not about replacing like the conventional IVF.
Right.
It's about like adding to it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about, bringing together Eastern and Western medicine,
Yeah.
using, the best of both worlds to really help you.
It's like bridging the gap between the two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the article also mentions that they offer like ongoing support
Oh, okay.
throughout the whole IVF process.
Must be so helpful.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because IVF, it can be so emotionally challenging.
Totally.
And, people don't always talk about that side of it.
Yeah.
But it's so important
Yeah.
because stress and anxiety, they can actually make the treatment less likely to work.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Berkley Center, they get that.
Uh-huh.
And they provide like emotional support and counseling
Wow.
to help people, cope with all the ups and downs of going through IVF.
It's so great that they take such a holistic and compassionate approach.
Right.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
Yeah, definitely.
But what about people who, who don't live in New York City?
Right.
Is this kind of care available to everybody?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Well, the Berkley Center, they're in New York.
Right.
But the ideas behind integrative care, they can be used anywhere.
Okay.
And even if you don't live near,
Right.
a center like Berkeley,
Yeah.
you can still find practitioners in your area
Okay.
who specialize in this.
So it's about doing your research
Yeah,
and finding the right people.
exactly. And, I think it's also important to advocate for yourself.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to ask your doctor about integrative options or to get a second opinion if you feel like
Right.
your needs aren't being met.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we move on, I want to talk about one of the stories from this article that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
It was about this couple who they actually conceived naturally
Oh, wow.
after having problems with severe sperm DNA fragmentation.
Yeah, that's right. So they went to the Berkley Center, and for 6 months they did, acupuncture, herbal medicine, lifestyle changes, all that stuff. And then they were able to get pregnant naturally.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, that these integrative approaches could have that kind of impact even beyond IVF.
Exactly. It kind of makes you rethink what's possible. It really highlights how incredible the body is and how connected everything is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm curious what really resonates with you about this whole integrative approach.
Well, I think for me,
Yeah.
it's the emphasis on personalized care.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
They really take the time to understand each person and what they need.
Yeah.
And I also really like that they use both Eastern and Western medicine.
Right. It's about finding that synergy, right?
Yes. It's about expanding what healthcare can be.
Totally.
Yeah, and embracing this more holistic and integrated approach.
I agree. It's about giving people the power to take control of their health,
Right.
and recognizing that there are lots of different ways to reach their goals.
So as we go into the final part of our deep dive here, let's kind of sum up what we've learned from this article. We started by talking about, why IVF sometimes fails. And we talked about sperm DNA fragmentation as a good example of something that conventional medicine doesn't always pay attention to.
Right, exactly.
Then we talked about how integrative care can address some of these underlying issues. And acupuncture and herbal medicine are a big part of that.
Yeah, definitely, especially at the Berkley Center.
Right. We also talked about how important personalized care is and how Eastern and Western medicine can work together, and how important ongoing support is throughout the IVF journey.
Definitely. And we learned that these principles, they're not just for IVF.
Right.
I mean, look at that couple who conceived naturally after using these holistic practices.
So to wrap things up, I want to leave you with a question to think about.
Okay.
Considering, how much interest there is in integrative care these days.
Yeah.
And all the cool new stuff happening in reproductive technology.
Right.
How do you think those two things will kind of come together?
Oh, that's a good question in the future.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll see even more, mixing of ancient wisdom and modern science.
Okay.
Like, imagine personalized herbal formulations, but based on, like, your DNA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or using AI to figure out which acupuncture points would work best for a specific patient.
That's like next level stuff.
Right. I mean, the possibilities are pretty amazing.
It seems like things are really changing
in
the world of fertility treatment.
Totally.
Where it's not just about the technology, but also about personalized holistic care.
Exactly. And I think this shift is happening because of, not just technology, but also because, more and more people are realizing how connected the mind and body are.
Yeah. It's not just a physical process.
Right.
It's also about our emotions,
Exactly. And as we learn more about those connections, I think we're going to find even better ways to help people.
Right, to help people become parents.
Exactly.
Well, this has been such an interesting deep dive into integrative care and IVF. It's really clear that this is a whole new way of thinking about things.
It is. And it can really, give people some great tools for their fertility journey.
If you're curious to learn more about the Berkley Center.
Yeah, you can check out their website.
Okay.
It's www.berkleycenter.com.
Okay.
Or you can call them at 212-685-0985.
So remember, this is just, the start of your exploration.
Right.
There's so much information out there.
Absolutely.
And so many resources to help you on this path.
And the most important thing is to, ask questions.
Okay.
Advocate for yourself and find the support that feels right for you.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and don't give up hope.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, it was great having you.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep those curious minds engaged.